Hello everybody, it's Ithikial doing a combat mission after action report. It is a quick battle multiplayer match against Slim, and it's the Poles up against the German army. Where we left off last time, he had really took a bit of a hammer blow to my left flank, taking out two Shermans, or a Sherman and a Firefly, and the one turned with one Panther. And we've got some Polish infantry force now moving up into the town itself, but we've got Germans right in front of us. Basically, same as where we left off, we've got lots of fire now laying onto this right side of this church, shooting a lot of infantry up, I think, that are caught in the open here. I've also just decided to run up my 2-inch light mortar. Basically, not for any type. This is basically going to be scouts. They're going to race up to the top of the church cathedral spire, I guess you want to call it. You also notice put a very small target arc there. That is to stop them from shooting at anything they see as they get further up. I do expect them to start spotting things very quickly from the top higher floors. So the last thing I want them to do is reveal their position. I want intel. That's what I want. Meanwhile, I've also got a squad that's advanced up. Picked out one of the ones with a little bit of better leadership. They're a little bit out on their own, but they're, again, more intel. I can really see a lot of movement going on in this road area. And they're hopefully, they're going to be trying to shoot people up in the flank at distance. My main infantry force here is pushing up, not coming under fire, which is good. So obviously they're still probably about a minute or two away from actually getting into these buildings on their side of the town. So racing them across right now as quick as possible. And that's where that one really leaves off. Not too much happening on the left flank after last turn's events. I've got infantry force just pretty much just holding down and waiting. This flanking platoon here, that's they see a lot of things, but this first squad's been, or third section, sorry, has been really mauled by the tanks, I think. And the others are really, it was an idea that was all right, I think, but I've realised that when I'm here, I've got nowhere to go without him seeing me. So they've sort of isolated one of my own platoons. It's definitely an error on my part. So anyway, I'll see you again in the next minute of action. Okay, back for the next minute of action, and one thing I did forget to say was this Sherman actually got bogged in the crater. So my heart sank a little bit more, saying I can't lose another Sherman. This happened the minute straight after losing the two Shermans over there. So Sherman and Firefly, sorry, I keep saying that wrong. So my heart sank again. Luckily for me, it recovered pretty quickly. Get moving really soon. And it's off again. So good on you, Clack. I think I'm pronouncing that right. So my infantry move up. They're behind this. They're moving into these buildings right at the same time the Germans are moving into their buildings, and we see a vicious little firefight start to erupt here. My mortar guys are doing exactly what they need to. I'm seeing everything come across this field here. Sorry, this road, I should say, but as you can see, a little bit risky because they're not moving in together into the buildings. It looks like I've got platoon on platoon action here. Lots of fire. Okay, but there is one very important problem that I didn't know until a few turns later, and that is he's only moving in little fire sections. So very well, that's fair enough. I don't usually break up my squads. That's not a thing I generally do, especially with Commonwealth equipped forces. The firepower is simply just too light, even at a squad level. And these Germans are pounding these Poles very quickly, and he really lays on the hurt in the coming turns. So good work, Slim, but that's just the table of organisation and equipment that you got to worry about. So anyway, I've got virtually a full platoon going up, what I think is a full platoon, but it turns out probably a bit more of a half platoon. And he basically reinforces again I believe, and at least from my point of view, and then completely overwhelms the Poles. So you'll see that very, very soon. Meanwhile, over here, he's got smoke out. Not, I think he's just trying to shield his infantry as he pulls back from this line or moves further that way. So that's pointing north. So, yeah. Meanwhile, on this flank, not a lot happening. I think he's about to. He's starting to pull out all his armour from this flank. All I've got here is this one Sherman, which is eyeing off this this road. If I push that red button, you'll probably see. No, not yet. But basically, the idea is anything that tries to cross this, at least I'll get a shot off with the Sherman, hopefully into some side armour. It's the only real chance I've got with a Sherman 3 with a 75mm gun. Now, I could move this Sherman back and cross around. It's going to take a long time and reinforce this area. I did think about it, but I thought the problem there is he sees me actually leave the vicinity here. He's going to know this is completely void of armour, which when you're going up against Commonwealth generally means that it's open to a tank attack. He could then roll his Panther and Jagdpanzer down here with some infantry and just clean house. So I'm sort of stuck here. I have to keep at least the Sherman eyeing it off on the assumption that he knows there's a Sherman, at least one more Sherman eyeing off this area. The idea is if he knows that's steady, he can just roll up with infantry. So yeah, I don't end up moving the Sherman. Again, possibly could be a bit of a mistake on my part if I want to just completely abandon this flank and concentrate on my push here on the right where I've got supremacy at the moment, but I decide not to. But anyway, I will see you all again really soon. No, it's not a repeat of the last turn that I've just filmed, but sure enough, the Firefly then gets stuck in the same pothole. But luckily for me, it does escape unharmed, doesn't get immobilised, so a little bit unlucky, that one crater of doom, I'll call it. Meanwhile, if I'll back it up, I have to go right to the start. This is what I was talking about before. My Poles take one casualty, that other casualty from before, but I get one casualty and the entire platoon starts falling back, and they are all rattled. So, yeah, that's what I was talking about, the German firepower. He reinforces very quickly, and the amount of firepower you can put out with the Commonwealth force is not a lot, and they are completely overwhelmed. But I was a little bit upset, actually, that they take one casualty and the entire platoon just bolts, pretty much. That one squad has some moving orders and still hasn't actually enacted yet, and unfortunately they move up just as these two have actually come out, so they're going to get a few shots off, and then the entire platoon here with nothing else to shoot at opens up on that one force squad. The sergeant immediately goes down, and they're out too, completely shaken. Morale absolutely butchered. So at this point I'm going, oh no, everything is falling apart. So yeah, I expected the Poles to put up a little bit more fight in terms of on the morale department, but yeah, I didn't realise Slim had that much firepower there ready to go. Yeah, as a general rule, don't go man to man with a German infantry force. You need to outnumber it with Commonwealth. Meanwhile, we've got the Shermans here open fire. So I've just got just trying to again knock down that heavy machine gun team. And then you'll see these guys are also going to move up under the cover of that Sherman, and they're going to get along this stone wall here and basically lock down this area. That will also allow me to free up this platoon to move into probably the church or the town itself, because these guys are going to really need some help. Meanwhile, while that's going on again, over on this flank, not a lot's happening still. No real big signs of movement. I think at this point, Slim's trying to move as much of his force as possible across the town, because that's obviously where the fight now is going to occur. Meanwhile, I've got all this my own company here at the moment that are not really touched, but yeah, I really can't give up this flank either. So it'd be great to try and move some of this force across. If that platoon wasn't there and an extra platoon somewhere here, I could actually race them across, at least up to the hotel, to move onto this high ground and provide support. But yeah, it wasn't to be. So this poor company has to really now shoulder the burden. I do foresee what was coming either in this turn or the next. I can't really remember. We've still got mortars going on over there, this old position. Yep, here it is. So I know what's coming. I know this from this little 2-inch mortar. There's lots of infantry around here, and I basically bring in both 81mm mortars. Time to have some fun, really pummel this area. At least that will, if I can knock out a squad or two with some heavy concentrated fire. It may even the odds a bit more for my 2 platoons that are probably going to be manning this this town assault. So as you can see though, that's the killer. An 8-minute wait is everything in a city fight. I mean, that wasn't what I was expecting when I purchased this force. It'd be good if it was like a 4 or 5 minute wait, like I'm used to with things like American forces, German forces. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what happened there. But anyway, that's all that from this turn, but I'll see you again real soon. Okay, everybody, we're back for the next turn, and an old friend reappears, I should say. This platoon is moving up, and all of a sudden, out of the smoke, Panzer IV. Hello! So I immediately go, oh, hang on. Unfortunately, this platoon's Piat gunner is way over here. Now, my Sherman is moving up for another reason. He's bogged again, but he gets out very quick. He does get a shot off and hits the weapon mount. However, it's not enough. And this guy immediately takes out the platoon leader, gets replaced with a, well, not too good of a leader, and now this whole platoon is in real trouble. So, but I do have a Firefly still eyeing it off. It can potentially see it if it had a spotter or a commander, but it's got to see it through this tree and this house. Doable. I think I do creep it forward a little bit. The other option is to try and hit it in the flank. But yeah, now I'm in real trouble on this flank. Meanwhile, the actual village itself, these guys are not doing much better. Still taking casualties here and there. The squads are coming to reinforce. They're holding down these buildings, but it's not really in the target area. It's not too good. I've also now broken off a Piat gunner section to possibly take care of that Panzer if need be. So yeah, things are starting to, as I said last time, really starting to fall apart. I'm really starting to run out of options, or that's what I feel. Running out of options to basically take on these 2 remaining German armor pieces. As well, our last Sherman bites the dust. The Panther, which I lost sight of, does reappear this turn, moves up here, and I can't really, I'm eyeing it off that road, but Panther does get first spot, I believe. Oh no, sorry, I do. Hit the weapon mount. It's always good when you see that, because it could knock out the 75mm gun. However, not to be. So, yeah. Oh well. It's dead. It's dead. Please. Sure enough, the commanders, the commanders actually are getting out of these wrecks pretty good in this mission, I think. Yeah, the commanders are generally... Oh, they didn't make it out of that one. Oh, yeah, didn't make it out of that one, I don't think. Oh, no, he did, yep. So the commanders are getting out of these Shermans pretty good. But I think this whole battle's going to be around those commanders of the tanks. Either they're lacking completely or they're surviving. Well, that is another minute of action down. And I'll see you again real soon. Okay, welcome back. We'll call this turn the crazy turn. This is the turn of ultimate reactions, I think, on both sides. Basically, I'm going to try and push back into these buildings again. I've really got to try and do something here to try and push the Germans back. And to help, I'm going to race up this Sherman very quickly, hopefully catch them off guard with a Sherman right here just to provide fire support. Because 75mm gun at this range should have a little bit of protection against Panzerfausts and maybe Schrecks. But should be able to just, you know, put in some high explosive where needed. So we race ahead. I notice very quickly the Jagdpanzer backs off a bit. Very smart. So we lock here. So there's my poles going in. Doesn't get bogged this time, but oh no. Got an order. He opens fire, knocks out some Germans, but there's a Panther coming right towards him. So didn't expect Slim just to race a Panther straight down that street. Thought he'd be a little bit more cautious to try and hold that flank. And the Poles simply give up. They see their tank go down, come under all that fire. However, there's always a little silver lining. Oh, and this time the commander doesn't make it. Okay, the silver lining. Is this a Firefly doing what a Firefly is meant to do? One shot, one kill, front armor of a Panther. So there we go. And this is the real first chance we've got. That's what obviously killed it, I believe. Yep, bang. So you can see here those long-range shots from the Sherman on the other flank. It doesn't really do much at all. So we're down to one tank all. So we've got one Firefly and one Jagdpanzer. So and the Firefly's already spotted a infantry force in the woods. So I'm a little bit hopeful if without a commander, you can still spot infantry in woods like this. Hopefully, you can also see the Jagdpanzer eventually. But yeah, it's if I can just get that last shot in. Meanwhile, this is a real basket case now. I've pretty much lost the equivalent of 2 squads, I think, in this platoon. And I've done virtually no damage at all to these Germans. I think I've knocked out 2 infantry from memory from a 75mm round. Not enough at all. So I think this is the start. I'm starting to realise now this is going to be it. The only other option I've got here is a Piet team, which does a little bit of magic later on, which we'll get to. On this flank, no sign of real movement, except they're obviously pushing towards this canal here. Virtually nothing I can do. I could bring down some mortars on it if possible, but those entire very long wait times, it's pretty much a redundant idea. And that's basically where we're at this point. I'll see you again real soon. Okay, the next minute of action. The Jagdpanzer, my Firefly almost takes out his own forces. Somehow they all lived. And the Jagdpanzer moves up. I'm confident here. It's a little bit more exposed in the open, and I've got a target armor arc, so I'm very, very hopeful. I mean, you can there it is. That is gun barrel shot right there. I've got infantry fights going on here, but the heavy machine guns are the MG42s. I think there's an MG34 in here as well. Those 2 teams can dish out the same amount of firepower as my Condor platoon here. So, casualty. If I can somehow take out the Jagdpanzer 4, have a Firefly can move up unhindered, yeah, it could change things a lot. Meanwhile, I'm not even going to try to push these guys back in the building again. Yeah, but this has sort of died down after the last turn's chaos. I think both sides sort of take a breath, take a step back. And I'm sure you'll you can predict what's going to happen next if you were Slim. Meanwhile, something that's a bit more shoring up here is this base of fire over here. Another whole platoon by the looks of it. What I do here, I believe it's from the hotel, is I start bringing in mortars over here, adjusting missions and that. It's still about a 2-3 minute wait time to adjust a mission, so it's not too bad. Yeah, I think I do change it again and try and get this line of infantry. But I think the timing is just all wrong. The delays are just far too long to have any effect. So, yeah, we'll see you again in the next minute of action. Okay, welcome back. We'll call this turn the game over turn. So, the Jagdpanzer IV opens up fire. Yeah, it takes a catch. I'm really confident going into this. Got a cover arc on. Jagdpanzer IV is opening fire. It's moving. I've got to get a spot right. Not to be. Not even a sound contact. Bang. Jagdpanzer IV does set, I believe. Just gonna check that. Yeah, Jagdpanzer IV moves back, does set, gets the shot off, and knocks out the 76mm gun. It's a waste of time, that Firefly. And it doesn't get far. So now we're dead, Firefly. And now the Jagdpanzer knows it can safely shoot against other targets, and this whole platoon is now in real trouble. I've got some poles still within line of sight. Yeah, it's still not enough. Meanwhile, this whole platoon that's hiding in the wheat fields, they're starting to come under fire, or at least the remnants are, the HQ sections, and they're going to come under continuous fire for the rest of the battle from, I think, some more LMGs, and he's also now probing across the river. So I think Slim can detect the weakness, he can detect it's all over, and he's going to start exploiting. There is one slight sort of saving grace, or a little bit of a trick shot coming up next turn, I believe. So I'll see you then. Okay, welcome back. So first things first, just to make sure it's dead. But, remember that Piet team? One guy, the Piet gun, gets the shot off with a sentry, side armour, not enough. Still enough to possibly scare the guy. The Germans open fire in this tower, it's got a guy. Under all this fire, he gets another shot off. And unfortunately misses, just. And for his trouble, he doesn't make it, unfortunately. Killed outright, but still, it's enough to make Slim reassess, I think, that Jagdpanzer IV, as it's got a really quite funny animation there. I think you'll see that Jagdpanzer backs off quite a bit, so at least I scared him. That's probably the only good thing I think happened this turn. Everything else sort of stayed the same. They're just opening fire at long range, is protecting this probing force. It's quite interesting, this map, because you've got high ground on both sides. You can sort of see everything that's going on. So if it was a clear day, it'd be probably even better. But it allows for a very reactive battle. One thing I didn't react to, though, is over here. I even just forgot about these guys, I think. And they all got taken out. That's probably one single HE round, I think. And I also don't see this force that's creeping around in the woodlands there. But never mind. That is another turn down. And I'll see you all again real soon. Okay, we're back, and we're just pushed ahead a couple of turns. This is really now the tail end of it. This is the, we'll call this turn the inevitable. So, as we kick off, the German assault starts. So, you get the odd little success here or there, but Slim takes full advantage and pushes all his forces forward. It's also quite quite evil, this map, or what I've done here, because I can actually see this wave of death coming towards me. The only thing I've really got hope for is these guys are all eyeing off inside the building there. So the idea is they come into this building, should get first shot through the windows from outside. However, he goes into another building. He gets perfect flanking shots. We'll just call this a moment of silence. So basically he gets a perfect flank on. And I think that's pretty much it. Meanwhile, on this flank, the probing force has crossed. Basically, I think it's in the previous turn, I missed actually, but I popped up, did a few pot shots, then the Germans just reacted and just blew the poles away with SMGs. So, yeah, there's virtually nothing left. And they're just coming over in force now. I do actually get these guys forward a little bit to the edge of the tree line just to hopefully see some of the enemy. It could be next turn actually. But yeah, it's largely now all over. As you can see, most of the infantry is now gone. Just got that really one platoon left, but not really a lot to go with. And I'll see you again in the next turn. Okay, it's just carrying on straight away from last turn. And the rest of the Germans push up and finish off this platoon. You get a few German casualties as they're advancing, but definitely not enough to stem the tide. Meanwhile, this guy here, the commander of the platoon, does survive. His entire platoon's been wiped out around him and he surrenders.
All good.
That's got to be some rotten bad luck if you're a commander, I reckon. Okay, and over there, my infantry moves up just to hopefully do some pot shots on the flank and slow these guys down a little bit more, even though they really don't have to keep going anymore. I've got these guys shooting up Polish infantry. Meanwhile, my little platoon here from the start, they're going to advance. This sort of just sums up my day. So this poor guy, the STG-44, he's coming under fire. Doesn't know where, in the side. Come on, guys, you need him. Turns around. First little burst gets a kill. So, yeah, that sums up my day. So, yeah, the sheer skill of the Germans of their equipment is just winning the day at this point. It's all over. But as I said, always that little silver lining is you get the odd casualty here and there. I think that's coming down from up here. No, it's not you. No, it can't be, because they're actually, yeah, this is the final, these are the final, I forgot about this, this is the final attempts at trying to reposition mortars to try and react, but as you can see, 5 minutes out, so it's just really just not going to work. And I think we'll see you again for the last turn. Okay, we're back, and seems sort of poetic in a tragic sort of way. My mortars finally come in. These are the missions over planned. Have to be more than 10 minutes ago, even though it's a 9-minute wait. There's some delays, and they're coming down in an area that the Germans have just simply already bypassed. There's a few off rounds that land and actually do cause a casualty or two, but definitely it was all gone. A little bit too late.
Roger, fire for effect.
A little bit late. There's the hotel. Lining everything off. And yeah, I had to put the surrender button. It was all over. So, German army, total victory. So, let's have a look here. I think that's an automatic because I just pushed the surrender button. But, yeah, not too good at all. The casualties, sort of what you'd expect given that those last few minutes they just rolled through my infantry, and the tank losses of course, and I think the German tank superiority really showed through there. But let's review the map. So we've got looks like 2 platoons of Panzer Grenadiers. That's what really got me at the tail end here. Excuse me, reviewing the map. I was wondering why so much firepower. He's taken Panzer Grenadiers this battle, which I didn't know about. I mean, fair enough, he's allowed to. Yeah, it was definitely the reason why I was just simply being outgunned in the infantry fights. That's for sure. My infantry over here had that 1 platoon, which was all right. But even so, their leadership wasn't too good. A lot of them were rattled. There's that Vickers gun who took out the Panther commander. Good on you, lad. And meanwhile, just scattered and broken troops. Even the mortar crew here at the end got in the action and knocked out the rest of this squad over here on the flank. My next to useless mortars back here, being fed information by their own company commander. This poor B company commander is going to wake up in the morning, realise his company's been decimated. But this is what really confused me. I mean, they're all the green troops there. I think that could be the problem. I didn't realise they were green mortars. I didn't do that to myself, did I? Interesting. That could be why there was an incredible delay. And I think that would have really hurt. You know, if I did that, I don't want to go back and look at the first video again. Did I actually do that? Did I actually shoot myself in the foot with that one? Anyway, what happened here? Why was Slim able to steamroll over me at the end there? I would love to blame it all on the Firefly bug. Not having those commanders, especially this second one here, with this Jag Panzer, it really hurt. However, that can't be the only reason. I don't think there was anything terribly wrong with the force selection, but yeah, the movement of them was not too good. The mortars were a killer. That 9-minute wait really hurt. I think that could actually hurt more than the Firefly bug. Not being able to react with my mortar teams is quick enough to concentrate fire in this area while they were still congregating here. That could have bought me some time in this assault. But also the sheer having 2 companies infantry just at the end of the day wasn't enough. I mean, the Germans took, it looks like roughly 2 companies as well of Panzer Grenadiers. That's, man on man, I just couldn't, you can't beat that. Maybe you have to be, unless, especially in a meeting engagement situation, it'd be very hard to beat. If I was already in defensive positions in foxholes and that, maybe. But that's a very tough ask. The tanks, taking the extra Fireflies, you can see why I did it. Sure enough, Slim took two of his 3 armoured pieces were, heavily tank destroyers, or those ones that your regular Sherman just can't really touch. Your Jag Panzer and your Panther here. And that Panther, wow. Gotta hate Panthers. But so yeah, taking the extra Fireflies was good. was a good choice, but I think the infantry fighter just had no chance at the end of the day here. If I'd maybe, I'm talking about a lot of what ifs here, but getting to position here first, having a few minutes to bed down could have helped. Or maybe even getting to this line here of buildings if I advanced quicker, but yeah, it wasn't to be. Thanks a lot, Slim, for playing this battle. It was entertaining, despite the ending. I've had a bit of a peek at the Battlefront forums, the topic I wasn't meant to go into. When I want to push the surrender button, and sure enough, it's good to see I put him on his toes a few times. But yeah, hopefully for everybody else, it gives you a bit of encouragement to, as I said at the start of this video series, to get out there and choose the forces that you don't usually go with, like in my case here, the poles, and also the weather conditions that you don't usually go with. Don't fight every battle with a clear sunny day at midday. Mix it up a bit, test your capabilities against your opponents, and really, you choose those weather options which like here with the fog and that, which would really limit your reaction times and your spotting ability. You might as well get used to it, because Bulge is just around the corner, as we all know, and I'm sure enough there's going to be plenty of scenarios in that winter time period that is going to really test us all. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this multiplayer battle series, and please leave comments below, like, subscribe, let us know what you think about the channel, and I'll see you all again real soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.